goes without saying that ghosts can be scary. Maybe not as scary, though, as telling someone that you believe in ghosts. Expressing interest in the paranormal is, in its own way, a sort of coming out. It's not a perfect metaphor. No one's going to physically assault you in a bathroom because you're a big fan of Swamp Ape, but it still pushes you into a societal margin of sorts. And an interesting thing happens when you exist in that space for a long enough time. People start coming to you with all of their ghost issues. We get asked to investigate all sorts of weird places all the time. And sometimes, the people asking you to investigate stuff are your friend's dad, famous Hollywood actor Ray Wise.
I am Great Ray, the ultimate power in the universe. All of this is just an illusion. It's a creation made up from my own consciousness.
Yeah, that Ray Wise. So the Liminal team flew out to sunny California to investigate Twin Peaks' own Ray Wise's house.
He actually doesn't live here.
To investigate a home owned by Goodnight and Good Luck star Ray Wise.
He actually co-owns it with his wife.
His daughter Kyna lives here. RoboCop.
Yeah, look at this.
And I think we want to. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
It's going all the way to
See,
red.
and that's interesting. Okay.
Hello, I'm Ray Wise. I'm an actor professionally and done a lot of different things. I've been in over 125 movies and over 267 productions at last count. And I'm here in this house today that was built in 1925 and has a long history, I imagine. The first tenants, I believe, were farmers of a sort, because they had orange and lemon orchards around here. And this part of Southern California was used primarily as back in the early days, as a vacation spot for the people in Hollywood to get away. They'd get away 15 or 20 miles like it was a big deal. But back then it was a big deal. I'm not a skeptic at all, no. In fact, I'm somewhat of a believer in different realms of reality.
Can I ask what informs that belief as a person who has similar beliefs, I think?
What informs my beliefs are a lifetime of reading and studying esoteric volumes, and I've always had a desire to try and discover the nature of reality and how my consciousness taps into it.
See, is there anyone here with us? Are you trying to maybe communicate with Ray?
I had a very intense experience, and this happened in 1988 in Spa, Belgium. And I was over there in France and in Belgium making a movie called Race for Glory that came out in 1988, all about 500cc Grand Prix motorcycle racing. And so I'm in this hotel on the top of this little hill in Spa, Belgium. It's around midnight. I'm in the top floor. I'm kind of in the penthouse suite. And there's a lightning storm going on outside. And there are murders of crow flying around, making all sorts of noise. Spa is right in the middle of the Ardennes forest, where the Battle of the Bulge was. I had an uncle that I was named after in World War. He was in World War II. His name was Raymond, my name now, and he was killed in the Ardennes. So I went on the balcony that night, and I stood there in the lightning storm with the crows squawking up above, and I felt the presence, and this is going to sound strange, I felt the presence of my Uncle Raymond that I never knew. He died 2 years before I was born. But I felt him as I stood there on that balcony, and I felt as if he passed right through me. And I remember being so rattled and shaken by that whole experience that I ran inside and I dashed off 5 or 6 postcards to everybody that I knew, telling them just exactly what happened. One to my wife, and one to my sisters, and one to my mother. That night I felt the spirit of my Uncle Raymond. And it felt very strong, very intense, and very real to me. And that was my ghost experience.
Is there anyone who might be trying to speak to anyone in this room?
Hey, the first.
What are you doing?
So this is a process called the Estes method.
Nothing.
So what is nothing?
It ain't your fault.
What isn't our fault? Is it not our fault that nothing is coming through? If nothing is coming through, then who's talking to us?
Whose fault might it be? If it's not our fault, is it someone else's fault?
Curious if you ever feel in any way haunted or sort of engaged with by any of the sort of the fictional versions of yourself that you've been.
That's a good one. Yeah, I happen to think that books do take on a life of their own, and certain characters in books become much more than the book. Almost manifests itself physically for you. I think that some characters that I played have become very powerful in that sense. For instance, the character that I played in Twin Peaks, Leland Palmer, is that kind of a character. He was the murderer of Laura Palmer, his own daughter. And it was a big mystery who the killer was at that time. David Lynch never wanted to find out who the true killer was, but the ABC television network, that was run by Cap Cities at that time, wanted an end to it. They weren't into our show that much.
Sure.
Yeah, and So the end came, and it was me, and I didn't want it to be me, but it turned out to be. I had a daughter, Kyna, who was very young at the time. She was only a couple of years old, and the whole idea of being the actual killer of my own daughter was anathema to me. I didn't want it to be me, and I actually contemplated quitting the show for a couple of days, and then David Lynch called us in for a meeting to talk about how we were going to do the reveal of Leland. And he made it sound so good that he made it almost palatable for me. And I came into a room at the studio, and it was dark. And the only thing in the room was a lava lamp in the corner. And they were all sitting cross-legged on the floor. So we're all sitting cross-legged on the floor with the lava lamp burning behind me. And David Lynch leaned over and tapped me on the knee, and he said, "Ray, it's you. It was always you." And I thought, oh, shit. Not me. Not me. I don't want to leave town. I don't want to be the killer. I don't want any of this. He said, "But Ray, it's going to be a beautiful thing." So characters can take on a life bigger than just what you see or what you read. It takes a life in the minds of every individual person who is exposed to it, subjected to it, and it becomes for them something very real.
So a person named Katie Webb sort of really pioneered using tarot in the paranormal investigation as a way to sort of tap into that sort of the energy that we were talking about before. I personally, I don't think that the magic is in the deck of cards itself. I think the magic is what we put into it, and the intentionality. Just so we sort of all can get a metaphysical hand on the ball. Do you mind giving the deck a cut for me?
Give it a cut?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll cut it after.
Yeah, Rosa, do you wanna? I feel like I'm doing a magic trick.
It's
Yeah,
sleight of
would you like
hand.
to pull a card?
Pull a card?
Yeah, and you can put it down on the stool.
And see, now I think that's actually really interesting based on the conversation that we were having before.
Yeah, you were saying your card is death.
So Ray had been explaining to us that
Death.
he is in the Twin Peaks
Peaks.
tarot deck as Death, and
The death card. 'Cause
Ray has just pulled the Death card.
with the photo of.
Is that far out?
I think that's pretty cool. I would go as far as to say that's synchronous in a really cool magical sort of a way.
Wow.
What would you like to happen tonight? What would be a good paranormal investigation for you?
Just some sort of a response on some of our equipment.
All right.
I love that as well.
Yeah, I think it doesn't have to be much, but I know it's there,
Yeah.
and it's just a question of tapping into it, that's all.
Rosa just told us that she's
Ethical.
experiencing something, or felt something immediately, and I'm curious who or what that might be. If you'd like to let us know a little bit what you are, or who you are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And if there's a racehorse, I would say something legal.
I'm excited to hear the racehorse because when we were interviewing Kyna,
Racehorse.
that feels very responsive to say racehorse a second time, but when we were interviewing Kyna was talking to us about her grandfather.
Racehorse.
And there's the racehorse again who worked with horses in the war, and the fact that we've brought up multiple times, both of you talked about the Buddha that was taken by him, but specifically racehorse coming up 3 times.
Racing with the wheels behind it,
Like a chariot?
Yeah, sort of.
In the
Yeah.
arena.
Yeah, that kind of racing.
In the arena? Because I just said chariot and Rosa just said in the
Yeah,
arena.
yeah,
Death.
Is there anything in this house? Are you maybe something in the house or something? Know something about the house? Familia.
Familia, and that's...
Polio.
Let's
What's
focus on the family.
okay? I also wanted to focus on the family.
Who we're talking to right now.
It's as if they are. Your mom was here.
So
Wow.
again, that feels...
Extra or
Oh. Okay, this is...
Ah.
Ray, I don't... I'm no contact
Is
with
he
my
here?
family. I don't talk to my family. Is who here? Who would he be? I'm curious who he is. And I'm curious why you're asking about him.
known. Joy. Illegal. Irate. There's some interesting words that were like that felt I don't know if I said it, but like mom was here,
Yes.
I heard, and a lot of numbers stood out.
You said 420 a lot of times.
Well, I mean it's LA.
It's LA, yeah.
Okay, but it's April in LA. But there's some
Why might your mom was here be a crazy thing for you to say? For it
'Cause
to
you're-
come through?
because we saw both of our moms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
mine
did
doesn't.
recently?
Yeah.
And we were staying with my mom lives in Palm Springs. We just came from Palm Springs.
Oh, yeah.
But their mom we randomly saw in LA.
And I don't talk to my mom. I don't talk to my family at all. And as the last thing that I knew is my mom was in Texas. So I thought she was just in Texas.
But she's here.
So yesterday we were driving, and we're driving the rental car, and I looked to my left, and she's just in the car to my left. And so I got back.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's...
Talk about synchronicity.
It
Right.
feels very synchronous to me.
No, I won't.
This was working right before we left. Yeah, so right now we're in our Estes method. I think the family came up a lot, and I know that this rocking chair and this teddy bear are. I think it belonged to Kyna's grandma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
No, I don't know that much about it, except
Okay.
that that it's from Ohio, and it's from a very old farmhouse, and her grandmother was in her late 80s, and so she was born before the turn of the century, the 1800s.
And we talked. One of the things we talked about with Kyna was the idea of spirits, or the energy of people not being bound to locations, but still sort of coming with us as we travel with objects that we bring and things like that. And I'm curious. So this is
Look at this.
This is really going. And so
Yeah.
we had this up against the wall, and I think maybe it's the wiring, but this is detecting what? Do you wanna?
Well, yeah, this is a magnometer. It measures electronic
The EMF?
impulses.
Yeah.
EMF. Yeah, and it's picking up something here.
Something here, and so some people speculate that the spiritual or the metaphysical can sort of exist in this plane in sort of the electromagnetic field and
Right.
sort of the things that we can't see.
Yeah.
Wait, there.
Oh. So we've moved the REM pod below the chair that we're doing the EVP session from. I also brought over my Memento Mori Oracle deck. This is specifically used for engaging with
what we believe to be the spirits of the dead. I think, you know, we talk to a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of times where I'm like, I don't know if what we're talking to ever was human. We're just sort of engaging with that. This feels very human to me. The sort of all the vibes that we've engaged with have felt very human, very like those that have passed.
And so like family oriented.
Yes.
I feel like usually that doesn't happen.
It
with
doesn't
like,
happen when we do this.
When we do like more metaphysical kind of stuff, it doesn't always tend to go that way.
So this is the Memento Mori deck. It's like a tarot deck, but it's an oracle deck. So the cards are not a traditional tarot. Each card is going to be an image, an artwork image, sort of with sort of the tools of death or the iconography of death. And each card has a sort of a specific meaning. I'm not going to be pulling a lot of them. I'm going to be pulling them when it feels right. I think just a lot of the investigation I do is 100% vibes based. Yeah, sure. And so when it feels correct to pull a card while we're having this conversation, or if the REM pod goes off, or if this sort of hits red, I think those can sort of be our indicators to pull one, and then after we finish the session, I think we can see what the sort of the meanings attached to those cards are, along with any anything we hear. And so let's that just popped out, so I am going to put that down first, because I'm a strong believer if something jumps out of the deck, it is worth considering.
Okay.
So let's get this recording.
Let's get it and see if we just want to ask if we have any questions. Usually that's how these work the best.
So I think the first question I would ask is, are we in the presence of anyone? And Ray, if you've got any questions, feel free to jump on in.
Yeah, is anything coming out of this teddy bear? Or the rocking chair? Is someone with us in the chair?
Notice when you said that, it jumped to orange for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a red just now, so I'm going to pull out the sextant, which already feels very navigational and very sort of directional. We've been told, I think a lot tonight, to focus on two things. I sort of see two focal points, details and family. And so I'm wondering if there are any sort of details of family or family details that we should be thinking about as we continue to investigate. I'm curious if there's anyone specifically with a family connection to this home, to Ray, to Kyna, who has anything to pass along, or has any pieces of advice, or anything that they want heard or known.
I'm here now, so it would be a good time to let me know.
Now would be the time.
Could you let us know what your maybe who you're related to, or maybe what your name is? Did you hear something?
Yeah, I do.
Do you know me?
Oh.
Rose is gonna give it a cut, and then if you want to give it a cut too.
Yeah, I thought you should have the last cut.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, okay, not at the same. I thought we're like, oh, put your hand on.
No,
No,
it's
no,
not.
no.
It's not
You
Space
just
Jam.
have
I am Kyna Wise, citizen of Glendale.
It's day 2 of our investigation. Last night we investigated with Ray, and the word family came up a lot. We tried really hard to consider family in a very specific context, but I think we failed to think about all of the things that family can mean in a way that's really foundational to our team. So I'm excited to get into that tonight as we investigate with Kyna in the back house, the space behind her house. That space has a lot of heaviness, and it's got a lot of sadness, and I think that getting Kyna in that space, investigating with us, is going to really help us get at maybe what has been creating that sort of negative energy.
I've experienced a lot of, of very dramatic events because I was taking care of my sick friend. And multiple people in their stays here have suggested that there's some stuff happening. My friend came in here to just clean up a bit before I had moved in here. And she came out and there were pictures of my grandfather and grandmother like from the 40s that were in the hallway. And she thought that that's who she was feeling here, but she was like, I feel some people in here. You know, she's like, your grandma and grandpa are hanging out.
I mentioned this really quickly last night. When I pulled the 3 cards out that we had pulled for our tarot, I expected them to just be like the top 3 cards because that made sense. But when I pulled them out, there was like a 4th card tucked in, and it was the Fool. And this was really interesting to me because, like, A, that's like the start of the journey. That's like the start,
the beginning of the tarot story, right?
Yeah. But for me, I think more so, it was really interesting because it was tucked in sort of like a close-up magic trick. Like that's how you do, you know, in a card trick, you would like tuck cards and pretend it's one card. And so it kind of felt like a magic trick, which is wild because when we were doing the tarot pull, while I was shuffling, I was like, oh, it feels like I'm doing a magic trick right now.
And that gets me, that's so interesting for me because I think like just as paranormal investigators, everyone's always thinking we're trying to trick them, right? Like how much of the TV show is, you know, Jules in the other room slamming a door shut?
Right, like what's fake,
what's fake,
staged or whatever.
And it's crazy to like joke that something's a trick and then it not be a trick.
Well, so, and because Ray was like, he was like, oh yeah, I'm in the Twin Peaks Tarot, I'm the Death card. And then he pulls the Death card immediately, which is like, that's a setup. That's a setup and reveal for like a magic trick. And that's really wild to me because like it looks like that feels very trickstery. That feels very like
it feels significant to me just because you know he's like, oh, my card is death, and then his card, the card in the pull is death, which I think makes me want to focus on that card a little bit.
Totally.
However, I think it's interesting with the other cards pulled is like. Obviously, death in the tarot is often like more about rebirth. Right. However, we are in a place where someone recently died.
Yeah.
And also, when we were in the Estes, I forget who said it, but one of us said the word death.
I think you did.
I think it was me.
I think you said it, and then I think the other ones like kind of came up when I was in it too.
So it seems like this seems like an important one to look more into, whether it's like the physical death of someone on the property or like more of the rebirth of a space. But for either way, it feels really significant for me.
So it's also meant a variation of things because it was a home for my friend. It made it possible for me and her to spend the last, you know, year and 9 months of her life together. And so it was a beautiful thing. But yeah, a lot has happened in there recently, and it's been really hard for me to kind of put the love and care into it that it needs now to start looking like a home again. So yeah, I've had a lot of really bad kind of just associations with it.
So we investigated with your dad last night, and a couple of things came up though that felt like very relevant. And so the first one is that when we got in the Estes, family came up a lot, and I think our first instinct was to be like, okay, family, like, is it a grandparent? Because you had talked about grandparents. Is it a great grandparent? And there were some like really sort of tangential ties to like, oh, racehorse came up, and he was like, oh, well, Kyna's great grandpa had a racetrack, and there were a couple of things, but like
we were trying to make it like hit a little bit more, and it It felt like there were some hits, like what we call them in the kind of paranormal investigating community, where it's like things that kind of click with people. However, it felt a little forced.
Sometimes you get a lot of hits and it's like leading to something specifically. But sometimes you get a lot of hits and it feels like something is there, but it's not whatever the obvious thing you're going for.
Okay.
As we got back to the hotel, and just sort of all of today I've been thinking about like we're the queer and trans ghost hunting show, right? And so I think that we were really limited by the concept of family as being blood ties, as being blood related, as being, and it's it's like we're here with you, it's your place, your dad, all this stuff, and I think it's really easy to get in that mindset, but like
we're queer. It's in the queer community, this big thing, idea of chosen family, right? The people we choose to be our family. And so we kind of wanted to reframe tonight's investigation, thinking about like who we choose to be family. And for you, and you're looking at me with real sad eyes, and I think you know where the end of the sentence is going. We really feel that your friend who is living in the back house is like part of your chosen family.
And I think that makes a lot of sense too, as the sort of the iconography of death came up a lot, and specifically that was sort of a thing that your dad brought to the investigation. Like his card in the Twin Peaks tarot is the death card, and the card that he drew from our tarot deck was the death card. And so when I was thinking just sort of about death and family, I was thinking about your friend who, like, the fact that you told this person, like, hey, live in my space, like, just be here, don't worry about it, that's beyond friendship, that's family to me. And so I guess I wanted to sort of see how that sat with you, see if that sort of...
Of course, it sits, appropriately.
Yeah. And I think I want to sort of have that in mind, and sort of have that in our... Hey, you okay?
You can pause also.
We can pause if you want to...
We're thinking of investigating the back house.
Yeah.
It felt good to wait for you to be here because it's like a space that obviously has a lot of pain for you specifically. And one of the things that I thought we also thought was kind of interesting is when we were investigating with your dad, we had a spike on our EVP reader when this card came out, which is the spirit board. It's part of an oracle deck.
Yes. So this is an oracle deck specifically about thinking about death and the beyond, and sort of the human existence beyond the physical body. And so this card did come up. I was pulling a card every time we would get an EMF spike, and your dad asked the question, "Do you know me?" And when he asked that, the EMF detector spiked. And so I pulled this card, and the card that happened with that question was the spirit board.
Get mad.
Who should get mad?
Get mad.
About what?
Who do you want to get mad?
Get mad.
That's weird that it came through 3 times, because that's several different radio frequencies. Who should get mad?
Can you give us a clue to who you are if there's a spirit here? Give us a letter.
Maybe a letter?
Or a word even that feels important. Can you tell me about where you are? Are you in the house with us?
On it.
You're on the house.
What are you seeing on the house?
There's quarters existence that she wants. I am alive. Comfortable.
Are you alive in this plane of existence or another plane of existence?
I don't know. Could be a first letter of a name.
D.
If we're listening for Kyna, and we're going to relay this to Kyna afterwards, what would you like Kyna to know?
Make me involved and strengthen your community.
Do you know where you are?
Nice.
Is it nice?
Who wants this?
Is it nice where you are? I'd love to hear more about where you are.
Spectacular.
Spectacular where you are.
This has been a really hard space for Kyna to be in physically. And a lot of that feels like energy that might be beyond just the physical. And I would love to know what we could do to make that energy better, to make this space.
I'm real happy.
Who are you?
Looks like the place 24/7. Are you able to visit anytime?
Do you have any regrets or anything that you're sad about, or are you full? You said you're happy earlier. Is there something you maybe wanted to do but didn't?
Relieve.
Who would you want to relieve?
Or are you looking for relief? Is
My
there
best friend. Buddy.
That's interesting. Who's best friend? Is Kyna your best friend?
Always.
It seems like it's really focused on the D. Wow. Early on when I mentioned that it was you, you said, my best friend, Buddy. And there was some delay between, but I asked, this is kind of like, do you have any messages for Kyna that we can relay later? And a couple of things came through, and then also, I love you forever. So that came through too.
I'm happy was the one that I think had the quickest response to a
message,
question.
That's right, the message was, I'm happy.
Yeah, one of
24/7.
24/7.
Does that resonate? Does that have meaning?
I mean, if it's my best friend.
I think there's a lot of ways that this could be, and there's a lot of sort of stuff that we're engaging with, and I think there's a part of me that's like, if something is saying I'm comfortable, and even if you're uncomfortable, I'm still comfortable, that could be a very negative thing, or it could be encouraging you to be comfortable.
To be comfortable, absolutely.
And I'm curious if that sounds like your friend, if that sort of, do you know what I mean? Like, there's been
if I'm to lean in, and go back to whomever is saying get mad, get mad, get mad.
Yeah.
It's like, well, like, okay, you're comfortable, but like, I'm left, you know, like glad but I'm of course like, I want her to be happy 24/7, you know, and that was the whole point, and she was miserable here 24/7, so, you know, it's like her turn to be selfish. I was selfish wanting her for so long when she didn't want to be here, you know.
Is that selfish?
No.
Inviting someone to stay in your space is deeply unselfish.
I know, but like wanting her to stay alive. And like
I understand that, right?
Yeah.
Clinging on to this thing, it's like, no, just one more day, when maybe they don't want another day.
she didn't want it.
Rosa asked, what did you want? Is there anything that you wanted that you didn't get? And you said relief.
I know. That's the only thing that makes it okay. Knowing that she gets it now. Yeah. And to some extent I have relief too. Because I don't have to wonder like when it's gonna happen anymore and live every day in like fear of it, you know?
Yeah.
Death. As the farmer scythes the last of what stands afield at the end of the season, so that new growth will have room to flourish. Much of what is here now could not be so had what came before not been visited by death, to clear the rows, the aisles, the path. He is feared, but he is just, compared to many. Unlike fortune or love, he visits everyone, once, has no favorites, and can be a mercy for the weary, the hurting, the hopeless. May he come swiftly to those who suffer with no cure. Some, it seems, can outrun or outwit him for a time, but he makes his rounds with patience and persistence, and he will eventually catch you in an unguarded moment. Some pretend he does their bidding, or rig the game so that he visits those their stratagems entangle, their evil eyes' sights are set upon, their profit and inheritance issues from. May it be to your consolation and condolence that one day they too will be cut down.